What happens when the so-called perfect couple suddenly shows cracks in their glossy image? For years, Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz have been paraded as an example of a power couple in the entertainment industry. Two artists, deeply creative, supportive of each other, and raising a blended family. But behind the carefully curated photos and glowing interviews, rumors have been bubbling, whispering that things might not be as solid as they seem. And now, those whispers have turned into full-blown scandal. Enter Lala Anthony, a longtime friend, industry insider, and someone who knows what it means to live under the spotlight. Word on the street suggests Lala hasn't just been a friend in Swizz Beatz's orbit, but allegedly much more. In fact, insiders claim that her connection with him stretches back further than most realize, and that Alicia may now be facing the very fate critics warned her about when she first got together with Swizz. That's a twist no one expected. The impact is explosive. Not only does it put a spotlight back on the controversial way Swizz and Alicia's relationship began, but it also forces fans to ask hard questions about loyalty, karma, and whether history really does repeat itself. The big lesson? In Hollywood, no matter how perfect things look, there's always a story beneath the surface, and those stories have a way of surfacing when you least expect them. But let's rewind the clock. Before Alicia and Swizz became the polished couple we know today, their love story was already steeped in controversy. Swizz was married to Mashonda when he began working more closely with Alicia. Mashonda has openly shared that she discovered the affair in one of the most painful ways possible through cryptic tweets, unanswered calls, and finally the undeniable reality that her marriage was collapsing.
I was getting phone calls from Kasim's school about him, and not really on his best behavior.
She accused Alicia of being a homewrecker, and at the time, public opinion was divided. Some rallied behind Mashonda, while others defended Alicia. Fast forward to their marriage in 2010, and despite the drama, Swizz and Alicia seemed determined to prove their critics wrong. They built a family, appeared at red carpets hand in hand, and often gushed about each other in interviews. For Alicia, it was the narrative of true love conquering all. For Swizz, it was about showing he had moved forward from his past. Together, they built an empire that combined music, philanthropy, and brand influence. But the problem with ignoring how a relationship begins is that ghosts have a way of haunting the present. When fans heard the new allegations about Swizz and Lala, the conversation immediately circled back to Mashonda's heartbreak. The same storylines of betrayal, secrecy, and broken trust resurfaced. The advice here? Never dismiss the foundation of a relationship. It often predicts the cracks that will form later. Now, where does Lala Anthony fit into all this? The whispers suggest that her bond with Swizz is not some recent fling, but a connection that's been simmering for years. Lala and Swizz actually go way back, both having crossed paths in their New York high school days, and both climbing the ranks of fame in their respective lanes. Lala, who was once married to NBA star Carmelo Anthony, has endured her fair share of public scandals. Her ex's alleged infidelities were tabloid fodder for years. It's not hard to imagine how two people with similar wounds might find comfort in each other. Some say Lala was tired of being embarrassed by Carmelo's repeated cheating. Others speculate that she wanted someone who could match her lifestyle, her ambition, and her social stature. Swizz, on the other hand, may have been drawn to her confidence and energy even as he maintained the image of a happily married man at home. It's the kind of messy entanglement Hollywood gossip thrives on. The fascinating takeaway is this: people often seek out validation from those who understand their struggles. But when those relationships cross boundaries, they create ripple effects that can shake entire families. For Lala, if true, this move shifts her from being the betrayed to possibly becoming the betrayer. That's a narrative flip no one saw coming. Of course, none of this exists in a vacuum. When rumors like these erupt, they're not just personal, they're public currency. Every fan, critic, and gossip outlet weighs in, dissecting body language and photos, combing through social media comments, and connecting dots that might otherwise seem invisible. According to alleged insiders, Swizz has even tried to calm Lala down, warning her to chill on social media because her eagerness to engage was making things look obvious. That detail alone is enough to keep the internet buzzing. And what about Alicia? To the public, she appears poised and unbothered, but people close to her hint that she may finally be reaching a breaking point. After all, you can only overlook so many red flags before they become undeniable. Divorce rumors have started swirling, and if they're true, this could mark one of the most high-profile celebrity splits in recent memory. A breakup like this wouldn't just affect a marriage, it could reshape careers, friendships, and public legacies. The larger lesson here is that secrets rarely stay buried in the age of social media. No matter how carefully a couple curates their image, all it takes is one loose thread to unravel the entire picture. In this case, that thread may just be Lala Anthony. And if the rumors are true, the fallout could be monumental. Let's step back to understand why this story hits so hard. Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys weren't just a couple, they built themselves into a brand. Their marriage became a narrative about creativity, love, and family unity. They hosted charity galas, spoke about blended families, and carefully framed their story as one of triumph over obstacles. For many, they symbolize the idea that even if a relationship begins under controversy, it can still grow into something lasting and positive. That's powerful PR. But the problem with living life as a brand is that every scandal becomes amplified. When whispers about Lala surfaced, it didn't just threaten a marriage, it threatened an empire. Sponsors, collaborators, and fans don't just invest in music, they invest in image. And when that image cracks, everything from endorsements to business ventures is at risk. This isn't just about cheating, it's about reputation capital. The harsh reality, in celebrity culture, image is everything. Once the public begins to doubt your authenticity, it's nearly impossible to rebuild trust. That's why this story isn't just messy gossip, it's a reminder that protecting your private life is the ultimate form of damage control. Guard your image like your livelihood depends on it, because in Hollywood it does. Now let's talk about Lala Anthony's perspective. She's no stranger to the spotlight or the sting of betrayal. During her marriage to Carmelo Anthony, she endured years of public embarrassment. Reports of infidelity followed him everywhere, and no matter how hard she tried to keep her marriage afloat, the weight of scandal eventually tore it apart. For Lala, who reinvented herself post-divorce as a powerhouse actress and entrepreneur, the narrative was clear: she was moving forward, stronger than ever. But imagine the irony if in her quest for empowerment, she found herself entangled in the same kind of chaos she once endured. Fans have been quick to point this out, saying that if Lala truly is Swizz's long-term side connection, then she's repeating the very cycle that once hurt her so deeply. That's the kind of twist that makes people question motives and loyalty. The lesson here is sharp: pain can cloud judgment. Sometimes instead of breaking cycles, people unconsciously recreate them. Lala's story, whether rumor or reality, warns us of the importance of healing before re-entering relationships. Without healing, history repeats itself. Here's where things get even more intriguing. According to multiple gossip outlets, Alicia may have already taken steps toward divorce. Sources claim she's tired of playing the role of the forgiving wife and doesn't want to be humiliated in public the way Mashonda once was. If those reports hold weight, Alicia could be positioning herself not just to leave, but to reclaim control of her narrative before the public turns on her completely. Swizz, meanwhile, has been going into overdrive, buying Alicia luxury gifts, praising her in interviews, and publicly declaring their marriage to be unshakable. Some fans saw this as romantic, but others called it what it looked like: love bombing. The louder the denial, the more suspicious people became. Because if everything was fine, why would Swizz feel the need to overcompensate so loudly? The practical insight here is clear: actions speak louder than gifts. In any relationship, genuine love shows up in consistency, not extravagance. If someone has to shout about their loyalty, it often means they're hiding something. Silence and authenticity are stronger than staged declarations. But the scandal doesn't end with Lala. Reports claim that Swizz may have fathered another child outside of his marriage, with whispers pointing toward a longtime side partner. Some say it could be Lala, while others insist it's another woman altogether. The truth remains tangled, but the effect is undeniable. Fans are questioning everything, and when credibility erodes, rebuilding becomes almost impossible. This development shines a spotlight on one of the ugliest realities of fame: the higher you rise, the harder your fall when secrets leak. For years, Swizz and Alicia cultivated an image of balance, discipline, and family-first values. The idea that he might have once again broken that trust shakes the foundation of their entire legacy. This isn't just about scandal, it's about credibility in the court of public opinion. Here's the takeaway: your private decisions always echo into your public life. For Swizz, one hidden misstep can unravel decades of branding. For anyone watching, the lesson is universal: protect your truth, because once lies slip through the cracks, they destroy more than just relationships. They destroy legacies. Here's the part many fans find hardest to swallow: Alicia Keys herself. For over a decade, she stood beside Swiss Beatz, ignoring whispers, deflecting scandals, and insisting that their love story was unshakable. She often spoke about him as her soulmate, the one who truly understood her heart and mind. Yet the same fans who once defended her are now asking, how much did she really know? Was she blind to the patterns, or did she knowingly turn the other cheek for the sake of stability and image? In her memoir, Alicia admitted that Swizz had a charm that pulled her in, making her see him differently from how the world did. But charm can't erase history, and history shows Swizz had been unfaithful before, even during their earliest days together. That makes it hard to believe she didn't anticipate at least the possibility of betrayal resurfacing. Many are now labeling this as karma. What goes around comes around. The sharp reality: if you ignore red flags for the sake of comfort, those same flags will eventually catch up with you. Alicia's story illustrates that no matter how polished a relationship appears, unaddressed truths always return. Always. Now let's talk about the public's role. Social media has become the courtroom where celebrities are judged, praised, or dragged endlessly. Every like, comment, and post is evidence in the trial of public opinion. When Lala began showing up too frequently under Swizz's posts, people noticed. When her responses seemed a little too flirty or consistent, fans started connecting dots. It wasn't just idle gossip, it was digital detective work, powered by millions of curious eyes. This is what makes modern scandals so relentless. In the past, rumors could be buried or brushed aside, but in today's digital age, every detail is magnified, archived, and dissected. Screenshots circulate faster than press releases, and once a narrative takes off, it's almost impossible to control. That's the trap celebrities fall into when they underestimate their audience. The big takeaway? Privacy is power. In a world where everyone is watching, controlling your digital footprint is as critical as managing your finances. Oversharing might win attention, but it always comes at a cost. But here's the twist that no one saw coming. Despite all the mess, some insiders claim Swizz and Lala's bond isn't just casual, it's allegedly long-term. That changes everything. If it were just a fling, the scandal might fade with time. But if this is a relationship with years of history behind it, then Alicia isn't fighting a random rumor, she's facing the possibility that her marriage has been quietly undermined for nearly a decade. That revelation adds a chilling depth to the story. People who followed Lala's career point out that she's often appeared at events with Swizz, sometimes in ways that felt a little too familiar. Photos resurface, gestures are reanalyzed, and suddenly the puzzle pieces fit differently. What once looked like harmless camaraderie now feels like foreshadowing. And in the court of public opinion, perception often outweighs facts. The lesson: long-term secrets are always the most dangerous. They build weight over time, and when they finally surface, they hit like a wrecking ball. If you're hiding something for years, remember, exposure is inevitable. And while Alicia may be the central figure people sympathize with or criticize, Lala Anthony isn't walking away unscathed. The internet is divided about her role. Some sympathize, saying she deserves happiness after everything she went through with Carmelo. Others condemn her, pointing out that if she truly is involved with Swizz, she's repeating the cycle of being the other woman, knowingly or not. The debate rages on. But one thing is certain: this scandal has reshaped how people view her. It's important to note that in Hollywood, narratives can flip overnight. Lala has long been admired for her resilience and ability to reinvent herself, but scandals don't care about your brand, they strip it bare. Fans are now questioning whether she is a victim of circumstance or whether she's been complicit in creating chaos. That's a tough image shift to recover from. The core insight: reputation is fragile. One misstep or even one rumor can undo years of hard work. For anyone watching, the reminder is clear: protect your integrity, because once it's questioned, it's almost impossible to fully restore. For anyone watching, the reminder is clear: protect your integrity, because once it's questioned, it's almost impossible to fully restore. One element people often forget is just how interconnected Hollywood's social circles are. Lala and Alicia weren't just strangers. They've been photographed together at events, exchanged friendly comments online, and even supported similar causes. That adds an extra layer of sting to the story. If the rumors are true, then Alicia isn't just facing betrayal from her husband, she's facing it from someone she considered a friend. And betrayal from a friend always cuts deeper. The irony here is hard to ignore. Alicia herself was once accused of being the other woman during Swizz's marriage to Mashonda. Now, more than a decade later, she may be standing in Mashonda's old shoes, watching another woman step into her place. The cycle of pain seems to repeat itself, proving that unresolved patterns don't disappear, they just shift roles. The sharp lesson: friendships and relationships demand boundaries. Without them, betrayal isn't just possible, it's inevitable. And betrayal from inside your circle always hurts the most. Another twist that fans are pointing out is the financial element. Swizz Beatz is not only known for his music career, but also for his investments, art collections, and luxury lifestyle. Alicia and Swizz together became a powerhouse couple with combined influence that extended far beyond the music industry. But scandals like this put financial empires at risk. When credibility collapses, so do deals, sponsorships, and collaborations. Money and image are always linked. The extravagant gestures like gifting Alicia the first custom $300,000 Maybach designed by Virgil Abloh suddenly look less like love and more like cover-ups. People are asking, were these acts of generosity or guilt? In a world where every move is scrutinized, big purchases can feel like desperate distractions, and when fans suspect that money is being used to buy silence, trust erodes even faster. The big insight: you can't purchase loyalty. You can't buy back trust. Money may create temporary illusions, but authenticity is priceless. And once it's lost, no car, no diamond, no mansion can fix it. Now, let's pause and look at the bigger cultural message here. This isn't just a story about three celebrities. It's a mirror reflecting how society views love, loyalty, and power. People are fascinated by these scandals because they force us to confront uncomfortable truths. Relationships aren't always what they seem. Power dynamics shape choices, and even the strongest seeming bonds can shatter. It's messy, but it's human. Fans are quick to say karma when these stories emerge, but the deeper reality is that patterns of behavior rarely vanish without accountability. Swizz's alleged cheating isn't just a personal issue, it's a symptom of a bigger cycle that was never addressed. Alicia's silence, Lala's possible choices, and the public's obsession all tie into one truth: without honesty, cycles repeat. The key takeaway: don't get caught in the loop. Whether in love, work, or friendships, recognize patterns early. Break them or they'll break you. History always repeats itself for those who ignore the lesson. Before we dive into the final layers of this story, let me ask you, what do you think really happened here? Is Lala truly Swizz's longtime secret, or is this all smoke without fire? Drop your thoughts below. I'm curious to see whether you believe this is karma, coincidence, or conspiracy. And if you're enjoying this breakdown of Hollywood's most dramatic twists, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives. Scandals like this don't just disappear overnight, and the more we explore them, the clearer the lessons become. Because while the headlines are juicy, the insights about human behavior, trust, and public image are what stick with us long after the gossip fades. Don't just watch, engage, because your perspective adds another layer to the conversation. Here's the call to action: get involved. Don't just consume the story, dissect it, question it, and share your view. That's how we keep the conversation alive, and that's how we learn from the chaos swirling around celebrity culture. Let's dig into the ripple effects of this alleged scandal. When a high-profile relationship like Swizz and Alicia's falters, it doesn't just affect the couple, it impacts family, children, and entire networks of friends. Their blended family has often been celebrated as a model of unity, with Alicia even co-parenting alongside Mashonda. But if the rumors prove true, that fragile balance could collapse overnight. Co-parenting works best when respect is intact. Once betrayal enters the mix, rebuilding that respect becomes nearly impossible. Children in particular feel the effects most deeply. While the public treats scandals like entertainment, the reality is that kids grow up reading these headlines, watching interviews, and piecing together their parents' choices. That creates wounds that last far longer than trending hashtags, and when trust is broken in the home, it often leaves scars that influence how those children approach relationships as adults. The takeaway? Scandals aren't victimless. Behind the gossip are real families, real children, and real consequences. Choices ripple outward, and the damage often lasts longer than the drama. The final question becomes, what happens next? If Alicia truly files for divorce, the fallout will be massive. Property divisions, brand splits, custody arrangements, and media narratives will all swirl into chaos. For Swizz, it could mean a permanent stain on his career legacy. For Alicia, it could mean reclaiming her independence, but also facing the harsh judgment of the same public that once defended her. And for Lala, it could mean a permanent mark on her reputation, making her the face of betrayal in the eyes of many fans. But scandals also create opportunity. Some celebrities find ways to reframe the narrative, turning heartbreak into empowerment, betrayal into lessons, and endings into fresh beginnings. Alicia could emerge stronger with a renewed sense of identity. Lala could rewrite her story if she chooses growth over silence. Even Swizz could attempt to rebuild, though it would require honesty he's never publicly shown. The punchline is this: endings are beginnings in disguise. No matter how messy the downfall, the way you rise after it defines your true legacy. So what have we really learned from this tangled web of rumors, betrayal, and resilience? First, history has a way of circling back. Unresolved cycles don't vanish, they repeat. Second, protecting your image isn't about luxury cars or public declarations. It's about authentic actions that align with your words. And finally, in the age of social media, nothing stays hidden forever. Every comment, every photo, every interaction can unravel the stories we try hardest to protect. Whether or not the rumors are true, one thing is undeniable. This situation forces us to think about how loyalty, power, and reputation collide in our own lives. And if Alicia, Swizz, and Lala are teaching us anything, it's that love built on shaky ground rarely stands strong forever. The glitz fades, but the lessons endure. Stick around because in our next deep dive, we're tackling another story that proves fame is never as shiny as it looks from the outside. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. He didn't just admit to pulling the trigger. He claimed orders came from above, tying the hit to Yo Gotti's circle, and now whispers of indictments hang in the air. If someone apologized in court for taking your loved one's life, would you forgive them or demand every hidden truth first? Drop your answer in the comments. A courtroom apology can sound like closure, but this one cracked open new wounds. According to sworn testimony and filings referenced in court, one alleged triggerman apologized over young Dolph's death, then described how the hit was planned and executed. The room went silent because apologies don't erase blueprints. Families want answers, not theatrics. Fans want names, not noise. And prosecutors want a clean chain of facts that stand up under cross-examination. That's the bar. The witness walked the timeline step by step, vehicles, weapons, movements, while the gallery measured every word against years of rumors and grief. Memphis felt every syllable. Accuracy matters. For Dolph's loved ones, an apology can't rewind 2021, but detailed testimony can illuminate what happened, who benefited, and why. Your takeaway: follow the paper trail and the sworn words, not the comments. Truth leaves documents, emotions fade, evidence doesn't. Guard your mind, verify before you share. Big accusations fly easy, admissible proof lands hard. In testimony summarized by reporters and argued in motions, the cooperating witness described a supposed chain of command, alleged orders, payouts, and meetings, tying street muscle to music industry power. Defense counsel pushed back, highlighting contradictions, incentives, and credibility gaps. That's the crucible: motive versus proof. Two things can be true. Rumors can feel right and still be unproven. Dual reality. Prosecutors aim to connect dots, money, messages, movement, while the defense attacks reliability and intent. Juries don't convict headlines, they convict on evidence. If that chain is real, you'll see it in corroboration, cell pings, surveillance, bank traces, independent witnesses. If it's shaky, it'll buckle under cross. Your takeaway: patience beats outrage. Track filings, not feeds. Transcripts, not timelines. Keep receipts. A pass on a record deal can be just business or the first domino. Years before the shooting, Memphis rap rivalries hardened through pride, titles, and perceived disrespect, then spilled from tracks to streets. That escalation pattern is brutally familiar. Status claims, online jabs, entourage friction, then real-world proximity where tempers outrun plans. Rap is art, retaliation is lawless. Different lanes. Analysts often flag three accelerants: public humiliation, economic threats, and third-party instigators who profit from chaos. Add geography, shared venues, overlapping crews, and volatility spikes. Once shots ring out in one city, fear and bravado ripple everywhere. The cycle feeds itself. Your takeaway: don't romanticize beef. Support artists who build infrastructure, labels, jobs, community funds, because those investments lower the temperature. Elevation pays, retaliation taxes everyone. Behind every street hit, there's usually a dollar amount attached. According to filings and investigative leaks reported by outlets, prosecutors alleged that tens of thousands of dollars were discussed, with shooters promised specific payouts for their role. That flips the motive from personal grudge to transactional murder. Cold economics. Defense lawyers pushed back, arguing these payout stories were exaggerations told by a desperate witness seeking leniency. That's the legal tug-of-war. Was this a conspiracy funded at the top or a story reshaped in hindsight? For ordinary folks, the lesson is sharper. Greed often disguises itself as loyalty. Money moves fast, but consequences move faster. In most conspiracies, the real masterminds rarely touch the weapon. They move funds, make calls, and let others take the fall. Your takeaway: trace the incentives. When in doubt, follow the money trail. It never lies. When Cornelius Smith pointed to himself in surveillance footage, the cameras caught more than his face. They captured the grief of Dolph's family watching their worst memory replayed. Courtrooms are theaters of pain. Every time prosecutors paused the footage, you could almost hear hearts cracking in the gallery. Dolph's partner Mia J has spoken publicly about the agony of learning case updates from the media instead of officials. That's another betrayal: bureaucratic neglect layered over tragedy. Justice is supposed to serve families first. Instead, they often become spectators. The apology from the stand doesn't heal, it reopens. Dolph wasn't just a rapper, he was a provider, a symbol of independence, a man who reinvested in his block. His death fractured not only a household but an entire neighborhood economy. Your takeaway: when you hear street beef, translate it, it means kids growing up without parents, communities losing anchors. The collateral is real. The seeds of this conflict go back years to when Dolph refused to sign with CMG and doubled down on independence. What started as business rivalry turned into full-blown disrespect when Dolph titled his album King of Memphis. In hip-hop culture, titles aren't just words, they're crowns. That crown claim cut deep, and rival camps never let it go. Diss tracks followed, then threats, then attempted hits that Dolph survived, like the infamous 100-round shooting in Charlotte. Survival turned into legend. Legend turned into escalation. Each side raised the stakes. By the time Dolph was ambushed at Makita's, the feud had already consumed years of lives, resources, and credibility. Your takeaway: respect disputes in art are fine, but once it crosses into real violence, everybody loses. Every prosecutor's case eventually circles back to one thing: money. In this trial, the story painted by testimony was that shooters were allegedly promised tens of thousands to carry out the hit. One witness described figures like 40 grand apiece, while the so-called coordinator would pocket 20. But defense attorneys challenged that narrative, insisting these were exaggerated tales spun by men trying to save their own skin. Without hard financial records, bank slips, wire transfers, promises remain just words. Still, in street culture, a verbal contract can carry just as much weight as paper. That makes the allegation believable to many in Memphis. Your takeaway: before celebrating street wealth, remember the hidden costs. Some checks are written in blood. If the only currency in play is silence or loyalty, the payout is never worth it. Memphis doesn't forgive easily. When the courtroom apology hit the news, locals voiced their skepticism immediately. In barbershops, on corners, and across social media, the consensus was clear: remorse after the fact means nothing when the damage is permanent. For Dolph supporters, an apology wasn't a gesture, it was an insult. People questioned whether it was genuine sorrow or simply a tactic to soften sentencing. The streets watch tone, timing, and body language, and they weigh those against years of rumors. The community has learned to look past words and demand actions. And the most unforgivable act is taking away someone who was actively giving back. Your takeaway: forgiveness without accountability is empty. The streets may listen, but they don't forget. The courtroom testimony didn't just echo in Memphis, it went viral worldwide. Clips and quotes shot across Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit within hours, each platform spinning the narrative in real time. Some users dissected details like detectives, while others fanned conspiracy flames, pointing fingers higher up the ladder. Social media amplified every claim. Screenshots of alleged text threads, shaky insider DMs, and edited videos flooded feeds, making it harder to separate fact from fantasy. But social media also served as a digital memorial. Hashtags honoring Dolph trended, reminding everyone of his impact beyond beef. Fans kept his legacy alive with music streams, quotes, and memories. Your takeaway: the internet is both amplifier and distorter. Don't confuse trending chatter with courtroom truth. Before we dive into the chilling patterns and the road toward verdicts, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. These breakdowns cut past headlines and trace the truths shaping hip-hop's most dangerous chapters. Stay locked in, because what comes next is even darker. When one domino falls in court, others usually follow. The cooperating testimony against fellow defendants opened the door for prosecutors to widen the scope. Conspiracy charges don't stop with the triggerman, they climb ladders. Defense teams fought back, stressing that naming names doesn't equal proof. They reminded jurors that credibility matters and warned about relying on testimony from those who stand to benefit. Still, prosecutors hinted at more to come, suggesting that sealed documents may reveal wider involvement. Your takeaway: the law loves patterns. Once prosecutors align money, meetings, and movement, the case transforms from an act of violence into a criminal enterprise. Every high-profile trial has shadows, people testifying quietly, hoping their names don't surface. Reports suggested that more than one witness came forward, some under protection, others behind sealed motions. These weren't rappers or public figures, but community members and insiders who saw pieces of the puzzle. Testifying in a case tied to rap rivalries is dangerous. The fear of retaliation is real. Yet without these voices, prosecutors can't build the conspiracy narrative. Each hidden witness adds weight, but also risk. Defense lawyers know juries look hard at credibility when anonymity shields faces. Your takeaway: silence may feel safer, but silence also protects predators. The courage of hidden witnesses can tilt the scales of justice, but it always comes at a price. Even after his death, Big Juke's name hovers like smoke over this case. Prosecutors tied him to alleged orders and payouts, painting him as a central figure in the conspiracy. His position as Yo Gotti's brother amplified every accusation. But his killing outside a Memphis restaurant in 2024 complicated everything. Without him alive to testify, deny, or defend, his role lives only in secondhand statements and speculation. For some, his death was street retaliation. For others, it was silencing, a move to keep certain truths buried forever. Your takeaway: power attracts blame. When reputations precede evidence, perception can weigh heavier than proof. When the courtroom shook with accusations, the rap industry stayed quiet. Big names who once collaborated with Dolph or traded bars with Gotti kept their distance. Some posted tributes when Dolph first passed, but few touched the trial. Silence in hip-hop isn't always about respect, it's about survival. Speaking up could burn bridges with powerful labels. It could also put artists in danger if they're seen as picking sides. Fans notice, they see who avoids the conversation, who deletes posts, who plays neutral while the city bleeds, and that silence sometimes echoes louder than words. Your takeaway: in industries where money and danger intertwine, silence often signals fear, not indifference. Leaks always change the game. Rumors of recorded phone calls and intercepted conversations added fuel to already burning suspicions. If authentic, the tapes could tie suspects to planning sessions or payouts. Prosecutors hinted at such evidence, while defense lawyers attacked credibility, arguing leaks can be edited, misheard, or outright faked. For the public, leaks feel like revelations. For defense, they're landmines. For prosecutors, they're bargaining chips. Your takeaway: never take a leak at face value. Ask who benefits, why now. Real proof doesn't need hashtags. Young Dolph's murder wasn't just about one man, it reshaped Memphis hip-hop. His independence showed artists they didn't need to bow to major labels. His death showed how dangerous defiance can be in a business still tied to street politics. Paper Route Empire lost its leader. Memphis lost a symbol of self-made success. The culture lost a warning sign ignored too long. Your takeaway: legacy isn't just songs, it's the choices others make after you. If Dolph's story inspires one artist to build without beef, the picture shifts. Young Dolph's murder wasn't isolated, it fits a disturbing pattern in hip-hop. From Tupac and Biggie to Nipsey Hussle, the blueprint repeats: beef escalates, loyalty fractures, money talks, and someone ends up a target. In Memphis, Dolph's death mirrored that cycle. Independence threatened power, pride inflamed egos, the streets carried out the verdict. Your takeaway: patterns demand prevention. Until artists and communities learn from past bloodshed, the industry will keep recycling tragedies. Forgiveness is powerful, but in cases like this, is it possible? One of the accused offered apologies in court. Some wondered if that mattered. Families still grieve, children still grow up without fathers. Psychologists say forgiveness can help survivors heal, but forgiveness without accountability feels hollow. Memphis isn't asking for mercy, they're asking for truth. Your takeaway: forgiveness can be medicine, but only after honesty and responsibility. Healing starts with truth, not excuses. As the trial inches toward judgments, Memphis holds its breath. Cornelius Smith still faces his own fate. Hernandez Govan, the alleged coordinator, awaits trial. Prosecutors may still unseal additional evidence that shifts the narrative again. For Dolph's family, the verdict can't bring him back. For fans, it may finally provide clarity, and for Memphis, it could mark the turning point between more bloodshed or overdue reckoning. Your takeaway: verdicts close cases, but they don't close wounds. Justice is a process, not a headline. Young Dolph's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a mirror. It reflected how business, pride, and violence collide in hip-hop. And this trial may finally reveal how deep those connections go. If you thought this case was finished, stay tuned, because the next wave of revelations could flip everything we thought we knew.